Why is it that you can love what you're producing when you're in the loop, but when you arrange it into a full track, you always feels like something's missing? Well, over the past 5 years, I've taught hundreds of producers, and this is by far the most common issue that I come across. People who can write a great loop, but then they get stuck with no idea where to take it or what to add next. In fact, I came across this problem so many times that I knew I needed to come up with some kind of repeatable solution. And after seeing the amazing results that this simple solution gives, then today I'm going to share with you guys my proven strategy so that you not only never get stuck in the loop again, but you'll be able to tell exactly what's missing in your projects and why. Now, you can't fix something without first knowing exactly why it's happening in the first place. So let me explain exactly what's going on here. Now, imagine you're going on a trip. You've got your suitcase out, but you forgot to check the weather of where you're going and you forgot to plan any activities. You're in your wardrobe throwing random clothes into your suitcase, hoping that you'll have everything that you need. But once you arrive, you realize you've packed shorts for rainy weather, you've only got sandals for hiking, and then you've left out some essential items entirely. Now that's exactly what happens when producers rush to get into the arrangement without testing transitions, contrast, or the overall interest levels of the elements of the project. They just hope that they've packed enough musical ideas. But just like when you're traveling, creating a successful track isn't just about randomly gathering elements. It's about intentionally selecting and testing those ideas so you know exactly what's needed for the journey ahead, in this case, the arrangement. So to get my clients over this issue, I teach a concept called the ABCD sections. It's basically a technique that we implement before the arrangement and after the loop's created, when most producers lack to have any sort of test in that area. This step is used not only to check we have enough sounds, but to check that they're all going to work well together, to see whether the song is interesting enough to even reach the arrangement yet. And more importantly, to prove that the track will sound good when we get into the arrangement, instead of looking for random sounds when we inevitably reach a point in the arrangement where the track's all of a sudden got boring. So let's jump into Ableton and see how it looks. Okay, I'll start by saying this. You take any song that you love, crop out an 8-bar section of it, and listen to that song on repeat for 1 hour, and I absolutely assure you, you will no longer like that song anymore. So as producers, looping over an 8-bar, a 16-bar of our own loop, and trying to work out what to add next makes it nearly impossible because you no longer like what you're listening to. The more you listen to it, the more your ears get used to it. You get ear fatigue, right? So that makes it less likely that we're going to choose any elements to add next that are going to actually be good because we're no longer inspired by our own loop. And finally, the more we listen to it, the less likely we can do anything good with it, and the more likely we are to make things sound too busy by adding the wrong things or thinking there's just not enough in there. There's no proof yet of whether we have enough elements. So take this 8-bar loop I have in front of me here. I like it. I do like it. I think it sounds cool, but I literally don't have a clue of what I can add into it next. So I need to make what I call the ABCD sections. Let's have a listen through and see what this little loop over here became stretched over this 32-bar section. Okay, so what has changed? Well, over here, first of all, my mindset has completely changed on this project, because over here, I thought I needed more. I was looking for synths and trying to write top melodies in the project. Now, listening to it like this, I realized quite quickly that I already had enough elements. I just needed to make the elements I had more interesting. For example, let's take this breakbeat loop that I've added to the project here. When I was in the loop, this was just a loop like this. But notice, once it's laid out into this little ABCD sections, I have about 4,000 chops of that same loop within here. Look how intricate I've got with it. Right. The reason for that is because I needed more interest coming from it, something that I would never ever have realized when I was over in this section here, okay? And the same goes for the bass line. When we were in the loop over there, I had no filter cutoff modulation whatsoever. Then when I got to the ABCD sections, I was creating this transition, more on transitions in a second, by the way. I was creating this transition and I lifted the filter cutoff like this. And I really enjoyed how that was sounding. So I ended up going back through the whole bass line and giving these slight wobbles with the filter cutoff, as you'll hear here and here, which gives me a cool effect, something that I would never have done while I was still in the loop. Now let's talk about transitions. I was writing an email to my list the other day, and by the way, if you want 20 tips in 20 days just like this one, you can sign up below to my email list and you'll receive them automatically over the next 20 days. But on with this. While I was writing that email, I was speaking about how transitions can really bring life to a project. They can make night or day difference. Let me show you what I mean here. So between each transition, I have spent a hell of a lot of time working on them. You can hear it most when we go from the C section to the D section here. Look how long I've spent on this. So put your faith in me. Now this really gives a boost to the project. It makes it sound much more professional than it would if I just took out 2 kicks and then dropped back into the beat again. So if transitions are so important like that, would it not make total sense to give them some time and energy rather than when we get into the arrangement rushing through them because we have so much to do? I hear it a lot with clients where they say, oh, I will come back and do my effects and transitions later. But you're leaving so much hard work to the very end of the project when you're most fatigued, when you're most likely to make mistakes, and when you're most likely to be lazy with it. So if it makes such a difference with transitions, give them the care, time, and attention that they deserve within this section. Because what I can do now with this method is I can go and copy that transition while I'm in the arrangement and pop it wherever I want and not have to worry about fanning around with filter cutoffs and auto filters and modulation and changing the kicks and snare rolls and things like that. It's already laid out for me because I've put the time, care and attention into it while making my ABCD sections. There's a really true phenomenon in the world that's called decision fatigue, and you get it a lot with business people that are multimillionaires or billionaires, where they will wear the same clothes every single day. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, people like that, they always say that they wear exactly the same clothes every single day. Not these same ones that haven't been washed, I hope, but they wear the same ones every day. So that's one less decision for them to make in a day because they're making so many decisions that their brain gets tired of making decisions. They end up making the wrong ones by the end of the day. It's the same with music. When you're in the arrangement, you have thousands of intricate, tiny little decisions to make, which all build up into decision fatigue and means that you get lazy with it and end up making horrible decisions later down the line. Then you've always gone too far to go back through the whole project, changing little tiny things, and you end up just scrapping the project. So work on things like your transitions within the ABCD sections, give them some time, care and attention, and I promise when you come to lay it into the arrangement, you will no longer get stuck. Now on transitions, a lot of people think when I say that I'm talking about effects. I'm not. I'm talking about utilizing the elements within your project like I have done with that breakbeat where I'm using little tiny snare rolls from within it and chopping them up. And things like the filter cutoff on the bass line. I've done it with this vocal ride too, chopping it up and giving it a little hey at the end there. Things like that, they make the world of difference, I assure you. So when you're in the ABCD sections, what's really cool about this is, let's say that we go from the B section into the C section. Now it's all about contrast here. Contrast, contrast, contrast. You've got to make sure that the when we go from the A section into the B section, there's a clear contrast between them. Something new happens. Watch. You hear that vocal come in again when we go from the B to the C section. You get that second vocal and then a perk happening, and the same into the D section. So if, for example, I got into this C section and I realized that there wasn't enough contrast, What it allows me to do, because we're just in a section, is just add one tiny thing here, and it doesn't necessarily need to fit everything else in the track. It just needs to fit this section. So it stops us getting so caught up on, oh, this doesn't sound great when we're in the loop, because you just need to make it fit here. It's a really cool way to add elements into the project without getting overwhelmed. So if you feel stuck in a bit of a rut right now and you'd like to work with me one-on-one, follow the link down below. And also, if you would like 20 days of free tips and tricks from me delivered directly to your email inbox, follow the link down below and sign up for my email list. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.